Okie dokie. Now the only thing we have left is to hook up our actions and correspond those with the outlets that we've already hooked up, and shabam, we'll have that switch in place in no time. So you've already hooked up the outlets actions and within your header file. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip over to our implementation file within the same class, and as you can see, we've already got the IB action settled on screen, ready to rock here. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a simple if-else statement, basically asking the controller, not the controller, but we're going to be asking the switch, if you're in the on position, which that's what we're going to be asking him, are you on or off, do these set of statements. If you're in the off position, which is going to be our else statement, do these set of statements here. So write if, hit tab, you'll see the condition come over, and this is where we're going to ask our switch, or we're gonna basically say if the switch is in the on position, myswitch.on, and we're going to execute these statements here. So we're not going to be too concerned about the on state at this point. I'll show you where we got to manipulate some stuff just to make sure it actually works, but we're more concerned with the off, which is going to be our else here. So this is where we're going to write in some statements, and as we illustrated from the previous tutorial, we basically want to disable, and we also want to change the alpha, which is going to be the transparency of our switch, just to give the user, you know, kind of a little heads up saying, hey, this is off, man. Don't touch me, man. All right, so the statements here, what we're going to write is we're going to tell our segmented controller, which is myseg, is the outlet that we established earlier, if you remember right. And we're going to write enabled equals, not two spaces, myseg dot enabled again, and then we're going to set that equal to no quotations there. So we're going to set it equal to no. So does that make sense? Basically, we're saying if the switch is off, we're going to disable the enable status is going to be no or off. And the next thing that we're going to do is the alpha that we spoke about. So it's going to be myseg dot alpha equals, again, myseg dot alpha again, and then we're going to set that equal to, let's just put it down to 0.5. I mean, that could be anything. You remember 1 is full alpha, which is going to be, you know, whatever shows on the screen is going to be 1, and then you can bring that all the way down to like a 0.1 or 0.01, which is almost invisible. And so we're going to go halfway in between with 0.5. So what we're going to do is we're going to run our application now. We're going to see what we've got so far, because you'll see there's a glaring issue that you got to watch for. You know, that's why we test these things. You figure it out. You're like, oh man, this is awesome. You know, and then you figure out the problems. So again, we're going into the projects. We've got our switch here, and as we flip it off, bingo, you can see we can't click it. It's disabled. And then it also is the transparency is down to 0.5 like we told it to. And so now we're going to flip it on, and we're like, oh, what in the world, man? It's still off. Like, what happened? What did we do wrong? And that's where we have to go back and we have to say, okay, if it's on the on position, if we flip it back to the on, what do we want our statements to be? And so we're going to tell our seg controller again, myseg enabled, again, myseg enabled, and instead of no, we're going to set our segmented controller back to yes, which is going to enable it back to a controller that's going to work. And then also, alongside of that, we got to change our alpha back to the 1. So myseg.alpha again, and we're going to set that equal to 1. So in this case, we're going to flip it off. It's going to go to no. It's going to change the alpha back to 0.5. And then by us flipping it back on, it should go back to the enabled stage, which it's going to enlighten the segmented controller and also bring the transparency back to its full state. So go ahead and run that for the last time here, and hopefully we've got a killer app going here. Go to project, switch, off. We got no functionality, it's disabled. On, we got it back. So those again are some of the basics of the switch. Hope you guys are learning a ton. Don't forget to go to mybringback.com, check us out on Twitter. I mean, my buddy just posts all sorts of stuff. You know, I'm Trav. And we'll catch you guys in the next tutorial.